Thank you. We bid you good afternoon. The topic which we have is one which has just been given to me, but it is one in which I've been involved with all my life. And I thought that with this topic, we could just begin to show and to demonstrate how, in fact, as a political activist, and of course this history could be shared for most political activists, how, in fact, I came to, unlike most people in America, begin to see the police apparatus in this country for what it is. Of course, like most people in the United States of America, in my early life, I thought the FBI were these good guys who went around and helped everybody. And I thought that they were supposed to be the guys who supported peace and all this nonsense. As a young man at Howard University, I went to work in the South with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Mississippi. And here I thought the legal basis for this work was clear. In fact, all we were trying to do as young students was to get our people the right to vote. Of course, while I may have been a little bit confused about the FBI, I was not certainly... Which one is it? Is it this one? That's what I meant. While I certainly was aware of the racist and terroristic nature of the United States of America in relationship to Africans, I certainly had not understood the role of the FBI as an organized force of terrorism against my people. This realization would dawn on me through hard and serious struggle. We said the legal basis for our work in the South was clear. According to the American Constitution, toilet paper. Here it was stated that every man, every woman had the right to vote. Of course, I know the history of my people in this country. I know that my people have never arrived at any position in this country, not even individual positions, without the shedding of blood in mass struggle. This point must be properly understood. It's only when understanding these points that you can come to see properly the real racist and terroristic nature of the FBI and the CIA. I say I know this, and this is clear, all of us knowing here. No one sitting in this room can deny any of the following statements I make. One, for Africans to sit in a lousy 5 and 10 cent store where they want to be, they have to shed their blood. For Africans to ride on a bus, even though they pay the same amount of money as anybody else does, in order for them to sit where they want to sit, they have to shed their blood. For Africans to live anywhere in this country where they want to live, even if they have the economic capability of doing so, they have to shed their blood. For African students to attend universities just like any other student in this country, their people must shed their blood. In order for us to get the vote, which everybody gets just like that, even the immigrant who can't even speak English coming here, we Africans, in order to get the vote, we must shed our blood. No one sitting in this audience can show me any example of advancement by the African masses in this country, even individual positions of advancements which have not been acquired at the price of the shedding of the blood of the masses of our people. Consequently, I was aware of this. I wasn't confused. Of course, the job of capitalism, well, it lies all the time, not some of the time. Some people get confused. They think it lies some of the time. It lies all the time. Even when it tells the truth, it's a result of a double lie. That's right. It lies all the time. So if you're not careful, they will let you think that Africans make progress like everybody else, and the way they write up the history is he was the first doctor in this area, the first student of this university, the first this, and it makes it appear as if this individual who's the first doctor or the first student really worked hard and was special, unlike the rest of the masses of people, and that these qualifications were so much that they had to be granted the position. More lies. No African in this country has arrived at any individual position without the shedding of the blood of the masses of our people. Anytime you see a mayor anywhere in this country, you must know that that mayor arrived at that position only through the shedding of the blood of his people. Anytime you see a student at the University of Delaware, an African student, you must know that student occupies a seat only because of the shedding of the blood of the masses of the people. Of course, the logical conclusion must be clear. Since the people shed the blood for these positions do not belong to the individuals who occupy them. These positions belong only to the masses of the people. The political conclusions must also be clear. Anytime you use this position, which has been gained by the blood of the people, not for the people, but for yourself, for your own individual interest, you have already betrayed the blood of the people. This must be properly understood. Once again, this confusion arises because American capitalism tries to confuse us. You know, they will tell you that, oh, you want to hear Kwame Tourre? Oh, that man, he was crazy in the 60s. He's crazier in the 90s. There's nothing wrong with that. Malcolm says extreme conditions must have extreme solutions. And we are in certainly extreme conditions. They will tell you that that man, Kwame Tourre, he's just uncompromising when he speaks. Everything is either white or black, hot or cold, wet or dry, that there is no middle ground, there is no gray area when he speaks. We are absolutely correct. I am a revolutionary and I speak of principles for which I am willing any time at the drop of a hat to shed my blood. And I will never compromise those principles to live, not me. Consequently, when I speak as a revolutionary, I speak of principles, and when one speaks of principles, there is no middle ground, there is no gray area. Everything is hot or cold, wet or dry, black or white. There is no gray area, although some will try to create a gray area or a middle ground where it does not exist. You're students. Show me the middle ground. On a test, either you cheat or you do not cheat. Where's the middle ground? You are human beings. Tell me. When you recount a story, either you lie or you tell the truth. Where is the middle ground? You are human beings. You live in a world where people have religious beliefs. Either you believe in God or you do not. Where is the middle ground? And some, I say, will try to make middle ground. The other day, a sister told me, well, I doubt God, but I still believe in him. Once you start doubting God, you have stopped believing in him. There is no middle ground where principles are concerned. This must be properly understood, especially for you as those who come to want to make a contribution to humanity, and especially to your people who are a part of suffering humanity. It must be clear here then that if your people are oppressed, either you are for the people or you are against the people. There is no middle ground. This must be properly understood. We see everywhere the capitalist system will try to give you illogical reasoning to make you make middle ground. The other day when speaking to a brother, I said, my brother, our people are oppressed. He said, yeah, Brother Kwame, you're right. I said, our people are suffering everywhere. I know you're right. Brother, the government pushing drugs in our people, trying to confuse our youth to stop their rising militancy. I know you're right, brother. He's trying to cause a confusion. The police themselves are arming youth in our communities to bring gang wars, to carry out their drug wars for them. He said, I know you're right, Brother Kwame. I said, brother, you have to come and help the people. He said, well, I can't help them right now. I said, really? He said, but Brother Kwame, I'm not against the people. I said, you're not. He said, I don't do nothing against them. I'm not working for the FBI. You know, it's true I ain't helping them, but I ain't against them. I said, you're against them. If your people are oppressed, and you are not involved in the struggle to liberate your people, by your very act of inaction, you are against your people. This point must be properly underscored. If your mother is being raped and you have the ability to stop the rape and you put your hands behind your back and say, I ain't in this, you're against your mother. If your people are being exploited and you refuse to lift a finger to help exploit your people, you are against your people and you've actively joined the side of the enemy. When we speak of principles here, we say there is no gray area, and the choice is clear. That is to say, if any of you sitting here who are Africans have never done anything for your people, you've been against your people. Let that be properly understood. Clearly, the contradictory logical statement is correct. Only we will free us. True or false? True. And if we do not work to free us, who will work to free us? The enemy? Consequently, the points must be properly understood. I said in my early days in Mississippi, I went there thinking that we stood on legal grounds. Now, I must tell you one thing, I was not confused. The confusion and the contradiction which existed between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, I was always on the side of Malcolm X. If you would trace quickly the history, now I know one thing, I know when I say things that you should know, I know you don't know because I know you love King, but you don't study King. But it's just like you love your people, you don't study them. But you love King anyway. Anyway, Martin Luther King had a feeling in the very beginning of his struggles that the federal government was on the side of the poor African masses. And furthermore, he insisted that our job was just to bring out the racism in the South. And once the federal government saw how racist the attitude was, they themselves would come and solve the problem. Malcolm X used to say, the federal government is your biggest enemy. He said the federal government can send troops to Korea to fight for democracy and have racist pigs in Georgia lynch you and do nothing about it. Malcolm X was clear. Martin Luther King himself came to the same position that Malcolm X did. If you would look at the end of his campaign, the Poor People's Campaign was directed against the federal government. Consequently, one of the great things about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was their ability to grow and to learn from their errors and to publicly demonstrate this growth and this correction of errors before the masses of our people. So from the very beginning, I knew the federal government was never on my side. I knew they could not be on my side. I was not confused, nor was I confused about the Democratic Party, which had at the same time in it a Kennedy and an Eastland. I knew that Kennedy would not sacrifice Eastland for me. And I never thought that could be possible. Consequently, for me, Kennedy was just like Eastland, another racist pig talking sweet honey. So there was no confusion here. But at least I thought somehow I couldn't have assumed that the FBI themselves would be involved. But as we got more and more into work, we were told, and I certainly as a SNCC field secretary had many problems with this, that every time there's an incident of burning or shooting or looting or killing or terrorism, that the FBI should be called in the local area of the South. I'll give you clear examples. As a young man, I could say that I cut my teeth in organizing in Greenwood, Mississippi. Greenwood, Mississippi is a Delta town, and as racist as you can get, full of Ku Klux Klan, white citizens, FBI, police, all of them just shooting us for fun. I was told by my SNCC superiors that whenever there was an incident, you should go to Greenwood, Mississippi, go to the FBI and make them come and make reports. When I would go into the city hall in Greenwood to get the FBI, I would find them in the office of the police chief just chewing tobacco and swapping jokes about us. This FBI agent would now be forced to leave there, come with me, and go make up a report, and all he would do would make up a report. Of course, I never trusted the FBI. I just thought that they would do their job. But in the early days, the FBI made it clear to us. I'll give you one clear example, historical. In the southern part of the state of Mississippi, there was an African there by the name of Herbert Lee, a strong man, a determined man, a man full of consciousness, who recognized that rather than be a slave, he would fight to be free. And Mr. Lee had contacted us and told us to come. He wanted to do some work in the South in the movement there. One of our SNCC superiors, on error, contacted the FBI and told them, well, there's this man, Mr. Herbert Lee, down there. We want to do some work with it. And the FBI gave his name to the local police chief, and Mr. Lee was assassinated within 48 hours. After that, nobody in SNCC looked at the FBI for anything except a chance to shoot these pigs down. We said the FBI gave the information, but the SNCC superiors kept insisting that we call the FBI. Once, when an incident arose where there was some burning of a house and some brutal terrorism, normal life in Mississippi for Africans, the SNCC people called me and said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to get me some guns, organize our people, and we're going for blood. They said, oh, well, before you do that, you need to get the FBI. The FBI for what? Well, we need to get for what? Well, we know they don't do anything, but we need to get these reports because we're going to sue the FBI for not doing their work, and these reports will help us. Well, I'm an organizer, and I'm a disciplined organizer. I've understood all my life, because all my life I have been in organization, all my life, so I have organizational discipline. Something that the overwhelming majority of the masses of my people lack. They simply lack organizational discipline because they've never belonged to any organization. Of course, organizational discipline is necessary. Its first necessity is to inform the individual that there's something more important than he or she, the organization and the principles for which it stands. This is necessary in a country like America, where all aspects of individuality is blown completely out of proportion. Where an African will even tell you, work for my people. What do they do for me? They ain't never did nothing for me. Do they pay my bills? I'm out here for me and me alone. Don't nobody help me and I don't need them. America's a backward country. Not only does it make you stupid, it makes you arrogant in your stupidity. Here it is screaming, oh, this is backward. All of us sitting here knows that an individual human being isolated from the human species is totally incapable of making any contribution to life. These are biological facts. If you take a kitten the minute it's born before it opens its eyes, you take a dog, a puppy before it's born, before it opens its eyes when it's born, if you throw both of them in the woods, isolated by themselves, they will grow to their fullest animal potential. The dog will walk on all four, he will bark. As soon as he finds a bone, he will love it. The cat will meow, and the cat will chase mice as soon as he finds them. But if you take a child, a human being, the minute he or she is born, without opening their eyes, and put them in their woods, isolated by themselves, if they live, they will never arrive at their fullest human potential. It is questioned whether or not the child will walk. Certainly the child will not talk. And it is clear the child will be able to make no contribution to the society. We push the argument one point further, again sticking clearly within the place of the logics of the statement. We continue to say that a human being isolated from the human species is more stupid than any other animal isolated from its species. Take the same kitten, take the same puppy, take the same child, as soon as they're born, without their eyes open, throw them to live with monkeys. The dog will walk like a dog, bark like a dog, and love bones. The cat will meow like a cat, walk like a cat, and love mice. The child will walk like a monkey, talk like a monkey, eat monkey food, and try to make a contribution to monkey culture. The statement then is clear, crystal clear, so that we can smash quickly all of these nonsensical ideas of individuality. The individual is dependent upon the masses of the people for everything. Consequently, the individual must subsume themselves to the desires, the struggles, and the aspirations of the masses of the people. This is clear. For the Africans, it is even more clear. We say without the slightest hesitation, any African who rises above the masses of his people have only done so by stepping upon their heads. As a matter of fact, any man trying to pull himself up above the people is a stupid man. It's only when the people rise that you can rise. We state all these things for you to see precisely the concept in which we're working. We're talking about these pigs, the FBI. Martin Luther King had a great deal of trust in the FBI. I remember having great discussions with Dr. King about the FBI. Dr. King, they're punks, chumps. No, you know, they're constrained here by jobs, Kwame, and they really do their best. And while it's sometimes hard, we can be sure that in the final analysis, their reports will have an effect. Dr. King had great faith in them. Did you know the FBI was tapping Dr. King's phone? I knew they were tapping mine, that's understood. I've never hid my hatred for them, nor my contempt, nor my desire to destroy them. Not in all my life, not now. As a matter of fact, the older I am, the more determined I become to destroy these pigs. Consequently, that they should try to destroy me is only automatic. Indeed, that great son of Africa, Kwame Tourre, says, if the enemy is not doing anything against you, you are not doing anything. Right. Of course. Well, if the FBI ain't doing something against me, what am I doing wrong? You understand? If the enemy's not hunting me, that's something wrong. Because I'm hunting the enemy. I'm hunting him to kill him because he's messing with my people. You mess with my people, I kill you. Just as quick as that, without even blinking an eye. Matter of fact, I'll kill you before God gets the news. No question about it. No question about it. So I understood the FBI should, even SNCC itself, I understood the FBI would follow us. Our policies were quite more revolutionary than Martin Luther King. But would you think that they would tap the phones of Martin Luther King? What is surprising, not too long ago I was speaking to a young brother. He said, hey man, ain't you afraid they won't kill you? What makes you think they're not going to get you before they get me? Matter of fact, the chance of them getting you before they get me is more because I'm alert. I know they're trying to get me. You think they ain't bugging your phone. Well, I ain't doing nothing. No. The FBI knows that I came out of the same conditions that you live in. The FBI know I'm no different from you. So the FBI is not afraid of me because of who I am. They're afraid of me because of who you are. Me by myself, I can't do anything. But us together, why, we can burn 260 cities in America in a weekend. In a weekend. Yes. So some people think that the FBI only tap the phones of people who are working for the people. You make a big mistake. I will tell you from my travels throughout the world, from my research throughout the world, that the American people are more followed by their government authorities than any people in the world, starting with those in the old Soviet Union. Matter of fact, just your credit card company knows more about you than the government agencies know about its people in other countries. Yeah, American people are totally followed. But they think that the FBI only follows those who the FBI deem to be a threat to the status quo. You make a big mistake. A great big mistake. This is a mistake that King made. Not only did these pigs tap King's phone, but hear me well, they even did these, yes, listen, the FBI